Morning folks, how we doing? Hope you're good. Thursday morning, ready to rock and roll. So if you're just to go through the fundamentals, so listen, if you're listening via podcast, please then do leave a review at the end. It's very simple to do. Or if you're watching this, please just do share. Also, if you don't know, we're doing a competition, Halloween sort of giveaway, which we're going to be drawing a winner tonight, or my boy is. We're going to give away 6 months free in the Brotherhood with a ton of clothing. And with a coaching call with me, and we're going to sort your shizzle out to make sure that you are on top of your game. So if you want to check that out, go to obviously this page that you're watching now, and there's a post last night, and just comment spooks within that particular post. So look, I wanted to share, a lot of people have been asking me about my running and getting ready for my 100 miler. Now, I thought I'd do a live feed dedicated to kind of like what my strategy is, what my mindset is, how I'm going to build up this running so that I can run 100 miles. Hopefully, the aim is to try and do it in 24 hours if I've got that in me. If not, just the best that I can do. And also maybe some tips on how you can build up your running over time. So the first thing I should say is that just because I'm running 100 miles, doesn't mean that your 5k, 10k, 10 miles seems, I can't remember the word that the guy said. One of the guys was basically saying, I know it's not 100 miles, I'm just doing a measly 10 miles or a measly 5 miles. Because it doesn't matter what distance you run. It's, the variant is really on your ability as a runner, your experience as a runner. So if you're doing 5k, so for example in the Brotherhood at the minute we're doing a 5k a day challenge while we have a fudge factor week before we start November's programme, and that's 35k in a week, okay, and that's going to be more miles than most people have run in a very long time. Now, it doesn't matter what distance you run, okay, it doesn't matter what distance you run. The same strategy that I put into place now, I would recommend you putting into place whatever distance that you're running. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is just my actual running. All right, so right now what I'm looking to do is get anywhere between sort of 18 and 24 miles a week. And the idea is that as we gradually get through November and December, I slowly want to build up my mileage to being around 30 miles to 35 miles a week, okay, by January. And the 100 miles is in June next year, just to give you the time frame. So I will be running hopefully 35 miles a week by January. And what I've got to factor in, there's lots of things to factor in, is actually you think about the amount of time that it takes to run. Now I have a pretty busy schedule in the mornings, so I have to plan in detail exactly when I'm going to hit that run, which I haven't done this week. But I have done every single week leading up to here, and I think it's post-holiday syndrome, isn't it? So, but what I have to do is be ruthless with my time, and what I'm doing is running full-time rather than miles. So, for example, I think, when did I run last? I think it was Monday. I set myself a target to run for an hour and 10 minutes, and I ran for an hour and 9 and did 7 miles. And when I'm running, I'm trying to get my body used to keeping going, working at a nice steady pace, not going too fast. I've definitely got some issues with my hip and my glute, which I am having treatment for. So hopefully by January, I will be in a much better condition around those areas for when I start running. But as I get closer to June, as we work through the years, I'll be hitting some half marathons, full marathons, and taking part in a couple of those events. My mileage, I haven't brought my sheet up with me actually, but I was going to bring it up for you. We'll end up slowly building up. I would say by April I'll be doing over 100 miles a week. All right, over 100 miles a week. April, May time, definitely. I think with May, towards the end of middle of May, I will probably hit a 150, 160 mile week, which obviously is quite a lot. And then what I'll end up doing is just kind of maintaining myself to the start of June, and then obviously hitting the big 100. Now, the mistake I made last time was that when I did it last year, my partner was pregnant with Alba, and literally we were on the verge, oh my God, we were literally on the verge of having Alba, so I really couldn't go on any big runs because I had to be within sort of taxi distance to be able to get home to take the kids to be able to take her to hospital to have the baby. And I didn't really train that great, so this is going to consume a lot more of my time, and especially when we get those big mileages in, I'm going to have to even probably get up half an hour earlier to get a lot of my work done. So on the running side, it's just about nice steady pace runs, okay, keeping it nice and consistent throughout, upping the mileage, okay, throughout the week. It's a bit like your calories, really. You start tracking your calories, tracking your miles, tracking the amount of hours that you are running as well. You know, I'm going to be out there running for 24 hours, so I need to make sure I'm getting that up. When we get close to the time, I'm going to do a few night runs, get me used to running in the evening again. We used to do it a lot in the Marines, running with a head torch on. And so that would obviously gradually build up, and my body would become used to running a lot more. We get used to just pounding the pavements, pounding the grounds, hitting the heels. And so when it comes to the run, it should make things a little bit more comfortable. Whereas last year, I didn't even sign up until February. So that's that side of things. One thing I didn't do last time as well was get in the gym. So the gym, I'm looking at doing very high reps, but with low weight. All right, so I'm trying to get more out of the muscle. About a Duracell battery and just a normal Tesco Zone battery. So a normal Tesco Zone battery is kind of like if I didn't develop at any point in the gym, any of my muscle, okay, trying to get the most out of the muscle, whereas your Duracell battery goes on a little bit longer. So I'm doing a lot of core work, a lot of leg work to support me, quads, hamstrings, making sure that I balance up the workout. So if I work the front of my legs, I make sure I work the back. Make sure I do my hips and my glutes, making sure that I work my lower core, my lower back. Okay, making sure that I develop those calves as well. Calves are so important. They were cramping up like nothing last time I did this. So over the next sort of 8 months, I'll be in that gym, pounding away, not going too heavy, but just keeping on top of my structure, making sure that my posture's good, and that will supplement my running. When it comes to mindset-wise, I've got a couple of strategies that I'm going to put into place. So one's being is that I'm going to run. I'm going to do this at least 3 or 4 times. So over a 24-hour period, I'm going to run 1 hour, rest 30, run 1 hour, rest 30, and I'm going to keep doing that. And I will probably do the same route to mindfuck me over a 24-hour period. And that is to start building up my mindset, my state of mind when it comes to the running, okay, and just obviously getting those hours in with the running that I need. So I come home, refuel for half an hour, stretch, mobilise, and then pretty much be going straight back out after that. And I obviously have to make time for that as well, around work, business, life, all of that type of stuff. So you see, it's a big task. It's not just a case of running. I think a lot of runners make the mistake of not conditioning themselves mentally for these type of events or physically in the gym, and that's why you get a lot of runners who have sore backs, who struggle with their calves, and probably don't do enough mobility. I have a mobility set that I do every single morning to help loosen up the glutes, the legs, get as mobile as possible. So everything's on track. It's early days, but it's consistency, it's sustainability. It's like everything else that I talk about. Got to make sure that it's the focus. And, you know, I'm still doing my jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I'm still, you know, doing some other bits and pieces in the gym to help keep myself in shape throughout. And obviously nutrition. Nutrition is just about keeping my calories up on the days that I'm running. Making sure that I'm eating good fresh foods, you know, proteins. I'm eating veg, all the, you know all the good stuff. You know, 4 months out from my run, I will probably stop drinking completely and only drink water and green tea. Just kind of keep it all clean and fresh, so that I'm in a really good condition, that when I start this race I'm ready to go. So that's my prep for you guys who are looking to develop your running and build up your running. If we take it from a point that you're not great at running, you haven't done running for a while, maybe you're a big guy, maybe you're been out of shape for a while, maybe you haven't done anything for a while, I think the key to running is progression, obviously, but starting by pace walking. All right, so if you're at that level, one of the things that I see a lot of people not doing is warming up. They get out of the car, they stretch like they just got out of bed, and then they fuck off. Now, if you're like me, 40-year-old, and your body's creaking, and it's becoming increasingly harder to maintain mobility and keep flexible, even though you are doing it all the time, if you start running without having warmed up, you're going to be in a lot of discomfort. So my biggest advice is to make sure you take 10 minutes to warm up. Take 10 minutes to do some mobility, to do some very, very light stretching once you've done your mobility, okay, and start off with power walking, all right? So once you've power walked quite a lot and you kind of got yourself in some form of shape, conditioning, what I would then suggest is doing intervals. So what you would end up doing is running for 60 seconds, walking for 30. Running for 60, walking for 30. Or you can make that time as variable as you like, depending on your condition, depending on your mindset and your ability. But if you end up doing that, that's how you start. So just like me in these early days in the 100 miler, I'm not doing any more than really 7-8 miles right now. Although eventually I'm going to end up be running 20 miles. But once you've got to that place where you've introduced a run, so you've pace walked, you're now doing a minute's worth of running, okay, you're now doing 30 seconds worth of walking, you now feel that you can run a little bit longer. When you get to that point where you feel like the minute is comfortable, okay, where you're not struggling just to make the minute, you hit that minute and then you go, okay, let's up it by 30 seconds. So I'm going to run for 90 seconds, but I'm going to rest for 40. I'm going to walk for 40. So you play around with your timings and your time transitions, so that what you're gradually doing is building up your running conditioning, you're building up your confidence. Okay, along the way, you're probably losing a little bit of weight if you've got weight to lose, which will obviously help because you're not carrying so much when you're running. And you build up that confidence. And I think you have to be consistent with this. There's no point if you're going to do it. Then suddenly stopping for 4 weeks and then going, oh, fucking come straight back. It's got to be consistent. It's got to be sustainable. You don't have to do 1,000,000 miles. You could do 5K. You could do 3 miles. And you could do that on your ratio of running for 1 minute, walking for 30. And it's just about being sensible with your progression, okay? There's no point saying I'm going to run 5 miles now, because you kill yourself. You ruin your confidence, okay, and you'll be sort of knocked back a peg. So I want you to kind of think to yourself, okay, what's the plan? Over a 12-week period, I want to be able to run 5K without stopping, okay, and that's what you're going to do. So you'll do, at the beginning of that 12-week goal, you'll do a 5K walk/run, see what you've got, see what you can do. Then 12 weeks later, after all your training, you do it again, and hopefully you will see a difference not only in your time, but the fact that how long you can run and how much more comfortable you can run. And that's a great way to check out your success. Don't worry about fucking personal bests. Don't worry about fucking your minute, how quickly your miles are, minute miles or kilometre miles. Just focus on seeing the difference between the very start of and the very end after 12 weeks. And that's how I want you to build up. Along the way, make sure you are consistently doing mobility. Make sure that you are consistently stretching and cooling down. Otherwise, you're going to injure yourself. Factor in the time to do the warm-up, the cool-down, and morning mobility. And I promise you, you'll become a lot more accomplished at running It's not the only thing I would recommend doing. You need to make sure that you're doing core exercises as well, doing a little bit of gym work as well. Running is just very much a supplement to you getting in shape and building yourself up. I wouldn't rely solely on it to stay in shape, you know. I definitely would recommend other things as well, but when it comes to your running development, that's how I feel you would best get to the level that you want to, and actually understanding the considerations and the problems that you'll have at the very start. It's going to be difficult, isn't it, to start with? So I hope that helps anyway. If there's any more questions on that, you can just ask me, guys, and I'll happily help. I might put together a sort of running program for beginners at some point this year and just dish it out, and so that you can go away and try it. But I hope that helps. Listen, Friday tomorrow, can't believe it already. So I hope you have a great day. What have I got on? I've got jiu-jitsu this morning. I've got a great piece of content that I'm going to be putting up in the Brotherhood for the content hub on habits, which I'll share with you guys at some point. Just creating a bit of content. Thursdays is usually my down day, just that midweek stop, because we've been on it non-stop this week, and picking up the kids and spending some quality time with the kids. So listen, I hope you have a great day, and I will catch you real soon.